61st annual Mackinac Bridge Walk took place on Labor Day. On TV's Lynn Brown was there and spoke with Governor Rick Snyder in Mackinac City upon finishing his 8th consecutive walk. Lynn asked Snyder about his thoughts on the current NAFTA negotiations.
Yeah, well, I think in Michigan we have a special relationship with Canada. So I've encouraged the federal administration, our government, to get through these tariff issues as quickly as possible and as thoughtfully, because we've been wonderful partners for years and years. We're doing the bridge, the Gordie Howe International Bridge, and so many other projects about autonomous and connected vehicles. I have wonderful partners in Ontario and Quebec and the federal government. Let's get this worked out and let's create more jobs for both countries.
And about the Mackinac Bridge Walk itself, with a number of significant changes this year, 25,000 people still came out and participated in the 61-year tradition. Security was paramount. Armed deputies, sheriffs, security service, state police were pretty much front and center, and the bridge was closed to public traffic from 6:30 in the morning until noon. The most significant change to the walk was that it started from both ends of the bridge, eliminating the need for buses transporting participants from Mackinac City to St. Ignace. Many people reported walking the entire bridge, either in one or both directions, and they arranged their own transportation back. Emergency vehicles were permitted to cross the bridge during the event, but no public vehicles were allowed. In a news release yesterday, Ward 2 City Councillor Sandra Hollingsworth talked about the NORMA. She said that in a short 3 months, the enhancements that have taken place are pretty impressive. Of note, the outside of the boat has been painted. There's been an increased number of visitors, film productions, weddings, and new interactive displays. Hollingsworth added that today's argument is not about saving or not saving the NORMA, but allowing the new board, which is comprised of young people between the ages of 25 to 40, some time to prove that there could be a positive future for the ship. She added that council has stated often that the young people of the community should play a role in shaping the future of the city. Hollingsworth is calling for an extension of 1 year to allow the new young board to continue with the improvements, carry out their vision, and finish their strategic plan. The Ward 2 councillor added that discounting the hard work and creative ideas of this group may result in a negative backfire. Instead of discouraging, council should encourage the future generation.
Prime Minister, is it still your firm position that Canada cannot sign on to a new NAFTA deal without Chapter 19? You have spoken of the value of Chapter 19. And would you walk if the Americans refuse to keep Chapter 19 in NAFTA?
We have had a Chapter 19 in NAFTA, which is a dispute resolution mechanism that has worked reasonably well over the past few decades. And there is no question that ensuring that everyone plays fair within a NAFTA accord, renegotiated NAFTA, is something that we can all understand as being important. We've said from the very beginning that we need a dispute resolution mechanism like Chapter 19, and we will hold firm on that. As I've said, we will not sign a deal that is bad for Canadians, and quite frankly, not having a Chapter 19 to ensure that the rules are followed would be bad for Canadians.
As a follow-up on cultural exemptions, a question about media assets. Are the Americans asking to be able to buy Canadian newspapers, radio or TV stations? Is that something you'd put on the table, something you'd allow?
We have made it very, very clear that the cultural exemption must stand as part of any renegotiated NAFTA. It is inconceivable to Canadians that an American network might buy Canadian media affiliates, whether it's newspaper or TV stations or TV networks. It would be a giving up of our sovereignty and our identity, and that is something that we simply will not accept. So we've made it very clear that defending that cultural exemption is something that is fundamental to Canadians, and again, we will not sign a deal that is bad for Canada, and quite frankly, eliminating a cultural exemption would be bad for Canadians.
The federal Liberals are refusing to let two ministers overseeing the Trans Mountain Pipeline appear before a committee of MPs to explain what's next for the expansion project after a court ruling threw its future in doubt. Liberal MPs on the Natural Resources Committee used their majority yesterday to quash a Conservative motion that called for 6 special meetings to probe the pipeline's prospects and drill into why the government bought the existing pipeline for $4.5 billion, knowing a court decision questioning the approval process was pending. As part of the proposal, Finance Minister Bill Morneau and Natural Resources Minister Amarjeet Sohi would have been summoned to explain what's next for the Trans Mountain expansion. Conservative natural resources critic Shannon Stubbs said the court ruling was clear that problems with the approval process occurred during consultations with Indigenous communities that took place after the Liberals took office. She said it's galling the Liberals haven't yet announced a plan to move forward. Liberal MP Paul Lefebvre, appointed 4 days ago as Sohi's parliamentary secretary, said the government is reviewing the court decision and will come forward in the near future with its plan.